Origin Chance Home Reaction. This is Miscellaneous Myths, Aphrodite's Affair, because of course it is. It's been a while since I did a Miscellaneous Myths, and it's about Greek mythology, the best one that is, apparently. Yeah. How much you want to bet this Zeus somehow gets into this story somehow? Of course he's gonna be, right? So yeah. This is by the channel Only Sarcastic Production, a great channel with the mythology. I've never come across any other channel that even come close to this. We're talking about mythology of different cultures like this. A spicy tale of a torrid affair that Homer somehow contradicts himself about like 4 times. Let's discuss. Yeah. Remember, if you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe. Check out the reaction. There's a link in the description. There's a playlist you'll find there with all the miscellaneous myths and things like that. I've done quite a few OSP videos already. So yeah, let's watch it.
In the giant spaghettified mess that is the pantheon of Olympian gods, there are a number of relationships that could be charitably described as unhealthy. It is a colossal mess of affairs and love children and plenty of revenge that benefits precisely nobody except Aphrodite, goddess of passion and love who enjoys nothing more than relationship drama, and when she can't find it, she will create it. Though she can't take credit for all the drama, she certainly seems to have a hand in the majority of it, encouraging love affairs and directing Eros to break a few hearts when it's a slow week or she's bored or it's a day ending in Y. But while wrecking other people's lives is good, clean fun, Aphrodite's own love life is a rather complicated and fraught affair, pun intended. Early attestations from Homer in the Iliad describe her as happily unmarried and a consort to Ares, god of war, Natch. But then Homer's Odyssey cites her as married to Hephaestus, god of the forge and brother to Ares, while still consorting with Ares on the side. This is a bit jarring for several reasons. Aphrodite is the universally desired goddess of lust and attraction, while Hephaestus is, shall we say, not the most polished hammer in the forge. He's a very skilled artisan respected for his craft, but he's also often characterized as cunning, rude, and alienated from the rest of the Olympians, especially his mother Hera, who in several tellings chucked him off Olympus shortly after his birth because he had a congenital impairment and she was kind of a jerk like that. This isn't actually consistent, though. In other versions, including the one in the Iliad, it was Zeus who dropped.
Greek mythology can be dark, man. Damn, your own mother do that shit. Alright. First of all, I mean, he could be the Aphrodite, just is with him because he's not so much, part of the Olympians like that, right? Because he's somewhat of a outcast, I guess. So she could have, one up on him or something.
Kicked him off Olympus because he was trying to protect Hera from Zeus, and injuries from the fall are what led to him becoming disabled rather than it being something he was born with. This lack of singular canon is very common in Greek mythology, so instead of looking for a single true narrative because there is no point, we kind of have to look at the general vibes, and in general, the vibe is not great. Hephaestus is broadly respected for his work and very little else, while Aphrodite is loved for her beauty while generally feared and disliked for how much trouble she causes. Pairing them up is inobvious, to put it mildly, and Homer doesn't really explain how it happened. Later stories eventually came up with explanations for how the odd couple came to be and how a goddess who could have any husband she wanted ended up with the guy it kind of felt like nobody would ever pick. One popular explanation was that Hephaestus trapped his mother Hera with a trick throne and then demanded Aphrodite's hand in marriage in exchange for setting her free. In other anecdotes, Zeus was apparently tired of everyone fighting over Aphrodite and married her off to Hephaestus to make the yelling stop. You may note that while these stories explain how the marriage
Zeus is like, oh, that fucking does it. Who's the next guy? Oh, there you go, Hephaestus. Yeah, you can take her. Yeah, I'm not even going to put any thought into this one.
happened, they don't really explore their relationship or how they feel about each other. The general consensus is they're not very functional, but we rarely get a look into how dysfunctional they actually are. One story that gives us a rare glimpse at the mess is recounted in Homer's Odyssey, so let's talk about it. Now, our story begins very efficiently by laying out the status quo. Aphrodite and Hephaestus are married, but Aphrodite is carrying on a pretty steamy side romance with Ares, who's been wooing her with presents and flowers and squishy stuff like that. This is all kept very hush-hush and down low, but doesn't escape the attention of Helios, who has a pretty good view of everything on account of being the sun. So he decides to let Hephaestus know what's been going on in his bedroom while he's off in his kick-ass volcano lair making robots and stuff. Hephaestus is, unsurprisingly, very displeased to hear this and responds in the same way he saw.
So, why is Helios being a gossip girl right there?
Most of his problems by inventing something. Specifically, he fires up the forge and hammers out a huge lattice of incredibly fine chains, nearly invisible but totally unbreakable. Then he scoots back home and drapes them all over the bedroom, creating an invisible net of unbreakable chains. Then he loudly announces that he's going on a business trip to Lemnos and won't be back for a hot minute, and scoots around the corner to wait. Ares, naturally, pops out of the bushes and scoots inside so he and Aphrodite can finish their Monopoly game, but they very quickly find the fun times scuttled by the golden net, which tangles them up and leaves them completely trapped. Hephaestus pops out of the woodwork and summons all the other Olympians to come see what he's caught. Poseidon, Hermes, and Apollo pop down to see what all the fuss is about, but the rest of the gods catch one glimpse of exposed god booty and decide they've probably seen enough for one night. So Hephaestus is, unsurprisingly, pretty pissed about the whole situation. He knows he's not exactly a prize in the looks department, while his brother Ares is a chiseled specimen of masculine vigor, but just because
I like how everybody just like this kind of a family meeting is like, oh, this is embarrassing. It's just like, I've done worse.
he gets it doesn't mean this isn't a pretty spectacular violation of the marriage agreement, and he's not about that. So his plan is to keep them in the net until Zeus agrees to refund the dowry he paid when he married Aphrodite. The fact that this implies that he bought his wife and is now requesting a refund is just a smidge fucked, but it's not like the rest of the situation is any less fucked, so Now, Apollo and Hermes think this situation is absolutely hilarious, but Poseidon is taking the whole thing a bit more seriously and asks Hephaestus to let them go. Poseidon tells Hephaestus he'll get Ares to pay the damages instead of Zeus, since it's more Ares' fault, but Hephaestus is reluctant because what if Ares doesn't pay? So Poseidon just promises that if Ares goes back on the deal, he'll just cover the
Zeus won't pay for a bucket if Ares was on fire. That is so fucking true.
price out of pocket. Hephaestus, satisfied that he's getting his refund either way, releases the lovers. It's unclear if any lessons were learned that day, but the world certainly never forgot Hephaestus' great innovation of using chains in the bedroom.
I don't know what's more hilarious, that he literally put a net there to catch Ares, or the Ares actually fell for it and got caught in the fucking net. Oh man, I love Greek mythology. It's just like fucking Looney Tunes or something. The funny thing is, one interpretation of this myth is that it ends with Hephaestus and Aphrodite fully splitting up. Oh, okay. So it's gonna be some kind of a soap drama where the entire divorce process happens. If later writers had leaned into that, they wouldn't have had to do so much for explaining the marriage. Okay. Also wish there were more stories where these two are a functional odd couple. Could be cute. I mean, one thing I don't understand, like why somebody doesn't create some kind of a weird comedy, at the same time epic type of a TV show or something, right? Which has accent, because these are Greek gods you're talking about, Olympians, right? I mean, there have been so many movies about Greek gods where it's just action packed and all that shit, right? So somebody could actually create this kind of comedy drama, but at the same time also accent somewhat, because we are talking about gods. And there are so many stories that some writer can just take from that mostly and just add some into it to make it more modern and create this whole story, like how there was a TV show Lucifer, how they basically take this Lucifer version of Bible, or I guess Dante, whatever, right, and create this kind of a weird thing of the current time, how he's just wearing a suit, he's a club owner or whatever, that shit. That would be so awesome for the Greek mythology. Yeah, with Aphrodite, Zeus, right? Zeus being Zeus. Yeah. Alright, well, if you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe. Check out the lyrics under, there's a link in the description. Check out the cards, check out the cards, and I'll see you next time.